Thank you so much. Before I start formally my remarks, let me just say that in the past 40 years, I have often traveled to California. And every time that the plane begins its descent to land either at LAX or John Wayne Airport, I feel so much better because the light here is different than anywhere else. The endorphin kicks in. I'm in a good mood. Today, I'm particularly excited as a Trojan to be here among you. So frankly, I don't have any reason to underperform, and I hope not to disappoint you on that. Of course, 40 years ago, I didn't need reading glasses. Now I do, unfortunately. So distinguished faculty, students, and honored guests, good afternoon. In the past several decades, I have addressed universities across the globe about the plight of my nation and the fight of my people. But it is a particular pleasure to address for the first time my fellow Trojans and to return to the University of Southern California. I'd like to thank Dr. Purmand and Dr. Ahavan for facilitating today's event, and Dean Al-Najjar and the Dorn Seif School and the Center for the Political Future for hosting us. My fellow Trojans, I am here today to speak to you about our collective commitment to the values that define this institution, a dedication to truth, liberty, and the advancement of human dignity. I am also here to discuss the role that the Academy and that you yourselves can play in advancing those values on the most important battlefront for it today. The fight for these values is not merely academic. It is real, and nowhere is it more urgent than in Iran, my homeland. When totalitarian regimes rise to power, their first and most ferocious attacks are often against institutions that protect the truth: the media, the judiciary, and most insidiously, the academy. In 1980, soon after consolidating its power, the Islamic Republic launched a so-called cultural revolution, an effort to cleanse the country's universities of independent thought. The regime closed academic institutions for over 1 year. They forced thousands of professors into retirement. They castigated women in academia, introduced gender segregation, forbade women in choosing their field of study, and of course, expelled any dissenting students. Ideological indoctrination replaced the pursuit of knowledge. The regime believed that if it could control the minds of the next generation, it could secure its grip on power. This is a lesson that we too must understand. The academy is not merely a space for intellectual discourse, it is a battleground for the future. The Islamic Republic, through various means, has sought to infiltrate and influence academic institutions, both in Iran and abroad, disguising its propaganda as intellectualism. It presents itself as progressive or anti-imperialist, all while repressing its own people. The global academic community must remain vigilant against this, ensuring that the pursuit of truth remains untarnished by political agendas or authoritarian narratives. But despite the regime's relentless attempts to dominate Iran's intellectual and cultural life, the people of Iran, particularly its students, have resisted in yet another testament to the indomitable nature of the Iranian spirit. Like their predecessors in different times and places, the youth of Iran are at the forefront of the struggle for freedom. These are not just protests. They are expressions of a profound desire for dignity, justice, and freedom. Iranian students have been beaten, imprisoned, tortured, and too often killed for standing up to tyranny. So I am here today in part to speak to USC students, not only as future leaders, but as concerned citizens. I am asking you to take note of your peers in Iran, and in particular, their courageous fight for their rights and their dignity. You must not look away as these young men and women, your peers in age and aspiration, sacrifice their lives for the same fundamental rights that you enjoy here. The books you have read on despotian despots from 1984 to The Handmaid's Tale are not subject of theoretical discussions or Socratic seminars for Iranian students. They are the reality of their everyday lives. George Orwell found his inspiration in mid-20th century dictatorships. Margaret Atwood in the totalitarian regime in Iran. It's easy to see why. Women are legally barred from dozens of courses of study. The Baha'i religious minority is banned from getting a higher education altogether. Students from both genders and all faiths are beaten, thrown from the windows of their dormitories, and kidnapped. They are lashed, tortured, and killed. This is the life of a student in Iran, if he or she doesn't toe the party line. I know you carry on your shoulders the burden of the questions of your future, your academic studies, your career path. I know my youngest daughter is in your shoes as a junior in Michigan. But I have other daughters, the daughters of Iran at the University of Tehran, the University of Tabriz, the University of Mashhad. And I am asking you to take a new burden on your shoulders. The burden of the knowledge you now have of the plight of your fellow students in Iran. And I am asking you to be their voice for them. I say this not only to students, but also to faculty. Professors, your colleagues too face the lash of the whip, the piercing of the bullet, and languish behind bars in the jails of the Islamic regime in Iran. It is on their behalf that I call today on each of you to do what you can to be their voice. You can be ambassadors and emissaries, not only for the people of Iran, but for truth. The resilience of the Iranian people, particularly its students, has always been a source of strength for me. Despite decades of repression, they have never given up their right to dream of a better future. They are the future of Iran, and they are showing the world what it means to fight for one's freedom with dignity and determination. This is not just their fight. It is the fight for anyone who believes in justice, in human rights, and in the sanctity of individual liberties. As Trojans, you can appreciate this because from the day you stepped on campus, whether as a student or an educator, we were all taught to fight on. But there is no one who better encapsulates this spirit so vigorously than the people of Iran. This spirit of perseverance and resilience is exactly what the Iranian people have demonstrated for more than 4 decades. There will remain unbroken. It is strengthened by each new generation, refusing to bend under the yoke of a usurping despot. The people of Iran do not ask for pity or charity. They ask for solidarity. They ask for the world to recognize their struggle and to lend their voice in support. The role of the academy is critical in this regard. Universities, including this one, must be places where truth is pursued without fear and where freedom of thought is protected from those who seek to stifle it. Academic institutions must be champions of human rights, not passive bystanders. Having returned to campus today, I not only hope for, I believe in a day when Iranian universities can once again be places of free inquiry, where students and professors alike are able to pursue knowledge without fear of retribution, where disagreements are transacted through arguments, not prison terms. I look forward to an Iran where the academy serves its true purpose, the advancement of thought, creativity, and the betterment of society. in a free Iran. I envisage universities that are open to all, where ideas can be exchanged freely, and where intellectual diversity is celebrated rather than suppressed. I hope that one day my nation's universities will be able to invite and host you, the scholars and leaders of your generation. I hope you will be able to visit and study in Iran and meet and collaborate and learn with my young compatriots, the scholars and leaders of their generation. I not only hope this, I believe it will happen. So to my fellow Trojans, I say this: you too have a role to play. The freedoms you enjoy here are precious, but they are not guaranteed. Stand in solidarity with those who are denied those very same rights, whether in Iran or anywhere in the world. As the people of Iran fight for freedom, I hope you will fight on alongside them. Thank you.